I welcome you all to Shri G.M. Donda Primary School and our e-learning session. In today's e-learning session, we will learn social science subject in which I'll explain you chapter number 7 following the Mahatma part 1. Children, the person whom we recognize as Bapu, father of the nation, and Mahatma is none other than the greatest human ever, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He went to South Africa to practice law after acquiring the degree of a barrister. The whites had established their supremacy over the black natives of South Africa. Compared to the whites, the Indians enjoyed very few rights. Gandhiji protested against this insult and injustice. He discovered the path of truth and non-violence to fight against the injustice which he called the Satyagraha. The idea of Satyagraha emphasized the power of truth and the need to search for truth. It suggested that if the cause was true, if the struggle was against injustice, then physical force was not necessary to fight oppressor. Mahatma Gandhi believed Satyagraha could unite all Indians. Principles of Satyagraha: non-violence, truth means honesty but goes beyond it to mean living fully in accord with and in devotion to that which is true, not stealing, chastity and non-possession. These all are the principles of Satyagraha. Children, now we will learn about Champaran Satyagraha. Champaran was a place in Bihar near Nepal in the foothills of Himalayas. It was famous for plantation. In Champaran, peasants were forced to grow indigo in 1/3 of their cultivatable land. They were paid less and the value given to the yield was less. The wages paid to laborers were extremely low and entirely inadequate. Shri Rajkumar Shukla met Gandhiji and persuaded him to visit the district. The Indian National Congress in December 1916 passed a resolution at Lucknow requesting the government to appoint a committee of both officials and non-officials to inquire into the trouble facing the district. Gandhiji visit to Champaran. His visit was opposed by the British rulers. After considerable struggle, the government was compelled to lift the ban on Gandhiji's stay. For the first time on Indian soil, Satyagraha, non-violence, was successfully put to the practice. Eventually, a committee of inquiry was appointed by the government under the chairmanship of Frank Shai. Gandhiji was also made one of the members of the committee. On the basis of valued recommendations of the committee, the Champaran Agrarian Law means Bihar and Orissa Act 1 of 1918 was passed. Children, now we'll learn about Kheda Satyagraha. Kheda district of Gujarat experienced famine in the year 1917. The agricultural production was destroyed. In 1918, Gandhiji learned that the peasants of Kheda district in Gujarat were in extreme distress due to the failure of crops and that their appeals for the remission of land revenue were being ignored by the government. As the crops were less than the 1/4 of the normal yield, the peasants were entitled under the revenue code to a total remission of the land revenue. Gandhiji organized Satyagraha and asked the cultivators not to pay land revenue till their demands for remission was met. The struggle was withdrawn when the government issued instructions that revenue should be recovered only from those peasants who could afford to pay. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was one of the many young persons who became Gandhiji's follower during the Kheda peasant struggle. The Kheda Satyagraha did not yield much result, but it became important because of the principles on the basis of which it was fought. The farmers became aware, fearless, and courageous. The most important outcome was that the nation and Gandhiji got a devoted and committed leader like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Children, now we'll learn about Rowlatt Act. England was victorious in the World War I. At the same time, Rowlatt Act was implemented by the Britishers to control the public unrest and control the anti-colonial activities. The Rowlatt Act authorized the government to exercise stricter control on the press, arrest without warrant, and indefinite detention in jail without trial. The accused were denied the right to know the accusers and the evidence used in the trial against them. This act was a complete violation of the fundamental rights and freedom of expression and speech. Gandhiji protested against this act and called it the Black Act. The Rowlatt Satyagraha was the first struggle of the entire nation against the Britishers, but it was limited to the big cities only. Rallies means processions were organized and stickers Rowlatt Satyagraha, 1919. England was victorious in the World War I. At the same time, Rowlatt Act was implemented by the Britishers to control the public unrest and controlled the anti-colonial activities. The Rowlatt Act authorized the government to exercise stricter control on the press, arrest without warrant, and indefinite detention in jail without trial. The accused were denied the right to know the accusers and the evidence used in the trial against them. This act was a complete violation of the fundamental rights and freedom of expression and speech. Gandhiji protested against this act and called it the Black Act. The Rowlatt Satyagraha was the first struggle of the entire nation against the Britishers, but it was limited to the big cities only. Rallies, means processions, were organized and strikes were called out to protest against this act throughout the country. The Britishers resorted to suppression to curb this movement. As a part of the protest against the Rowlatt Act, the people of Punjab announced a strike on 30th March and 6th April 1919. The condition of Amritsar was almost out of control, and looking at this, martial law was declared in Amritsar. A meeting was organized on 13th April on day of Baisakhi in the Jallianwala Bagh to pay tribute to martyrs and also to protest against the arrest of Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Pichlu. Approximately 10,000 people had gathered in this meeting. General Dyer blocked the only exit of the Bagh and ordered firing at the unarmed people gathered there. The fire started without any prior notice or warning. There were high walls around it so people could not escape, and the constant firing. As per the official records, 379 died and 1200 were injured, but in reality the casualties were much more than mentioned in the official reports. Gandhiji completely lost his faith in the British sense of justice and fairness. Chori Chora Incident 1922. Chori Chora is a small village in the Gorakhpur district of Uttar Pradesh. On 5th February 1922, the police stationed there fired at a group of demonstrators. The demonstrators retaliated by burning down the police station, which caused the death of 22 policemen. Gandhiji had all through the movement emphasized on peace and non-violence. This incident deeply hurt him and he called off the movement. On 10th March 1922, he was arrested and sentenced to 6 years imprisonment. Simon Commission 1927, Indian reaction, opposition by boycott. The British government sent Simon Commission under the chairmanship of Sir Simon to investigate the progress of the governance scheme introduced under the Government of India Act 1919 and suggest new steps for reform. This commission had to decide the political future of our country and still did not have a single representative from India. This made the people furious and insulted. All the political parties decided to boycott the Simon Commission. When the members of the commission reached India, they were welcomed with black flags and slogan "Simon Go Back" as a mark of protest. Nehru Report. A conference having the representatives of all political parties of India met in Delhi in February 1928. A committee was formed under the chairmanship of Motilal Nehru in order to frame our constitution. This committee prepared a draft of a constitution which would be acceptable to all the parties. It came to be known as Nehru Report. The Muslim League did not accept it and thus it was rejected by the British government. Children, I hope you understood the chapter. It's time for me to say you goodbye. Goodbye, children. Have a nice day. Here we have completed our chapter. I hope you understood the concept. It's time for me to say you goodbye. Goodbye, children. Have a nice day.